Hello and welcome to Good Morning Thailand. I'm Jay and this is Natty Warisa.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Natty. Would you like to mute your live stream?
I would love to mute my live stream.
Well,
yes.
thank you very much. Welcome, viewers, to Tuesday morning. It is slightly dark and gloomy. The weather's a bit cold. However, how are you feeling on a Tuesday morning?
I feel fantastic. You know, you always say that it's gloomy outside. I think it's just the tinted windows, man. But it's really sunny outside.
It's really not. Or it could be the tinted windows. Who knows? But just go with it, Natty. God damn it. All right. Before we start the show, I'd like to give a quick shout out to...
Would you like to turn off that? Okay.
Touche. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Ken Pitt and Charles Vine. Thank you for being Thaiger members and supporting the channel. Your support is very much appreciated, as well as Coffee Culture. Today's the last chance to win 333 Dogecoin. So if you've ever wanted to take part in cryptocurrency, you can through Coffee Culture. So more information in the description below. You can click the link to enter a contest in which you can win some cryptocurrency. So yeah, coffeeculture.asia is the place to be for that. Shall we talk about the topics that we're going to be talking about today?
Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Omicron, which is the new variant for COVID-19, and how it will not affect the reopening that is coming from officials in Thailand. Alcohol sales curfew have finally been eased. Sandbox Day has been shortened, and new station plans for Hua Lamphong as public outcry has affected the Prime Minister to come out and ask for changes and what the changes will be. So, a lot to talk about. I feel like overall it's a positive day, Natty. You know, positive day for changes, for anyone who loves alcohol, as well as plans to come to Thailand through the Sandbox. So let's start firstly talking about the new variant. Now, we're going to talk about this briefly. Omicron, is that how you say it? Omicron?
Yeah, Omicron.
Omicron will not affect reopening. What do I mean by that? Thailand will not take a step back from the reopening plan despite uncertainty over the Omicron variant. Now, this is coming from Kun Pipat Ratchakit Prakan, who is the Tourism and Sports Minister. Now, he's come out and say, I can read a quote for you, "Nobody wants another border closure as it was really difficult for us to reopen the country. Our economy still suffers from the crisis, so there will be no more border seals unless we are in a very critical situation." So, a positive message from the Tourism and Sports Minister saying that, yes, we are aware of this new variant, and although, some countries are suffering from this a lot more than Thailand. Currently, they're not going to stop or they're not going to delay any more reopening plans. In fact, this actually leads us to our second story, which leads to alcohol sales being the curfew time being increased from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. More on that shortly. However, Nada, I just want to give you and the viewers a quick statistic. International travelers during the first 29 days of the reopening have been more than 100,000. Which doubled from the 3 months of the Phuket Sandbox. Now, these figures prove, in a way, that a quarantine-free strategy is the right way to attract tourists. It might have taken them a bit long to realize that quarantine-free stay would attract tourists. It doesn't really take a genius to figure that out. But I'm glad that the numbers are now finally trying to prove that this is the right way. So slowly they will start easing more and more restrictions. However, I saw in the live chat before we started, one of the viewers actually asked a question about RT-PCR tests and antigen tests. Now, originally around December 16, they had a plan that you wouldn't be required an RT-PCR test, which is, I believe, the nose swab, and that would be changed to an antigen test once you arrive into Thailand. However, unfortunately, I have some bad news regarding that. The plan to replace RT-PCR tests with antigen test kits for the Test and Go scheme from December 16 has been postponed, or has to be postponed, until there is more clarity on the Omicron variant to prevent possible caseloads of over 20,000 per day. This is again coming from the Tourism and Sports Minister. More news and latest information on that can be found on thethaiger.com.
Right. I think I want to also mention a little bit about Omicron because it only was detected on November 24th. So it's less than a week that they have first found this variant. And it's still unclear whether or not how transmissible it is, whether Omicron is more transmissible than other variants, including the Delta variant. The severity of the disease is also still unclear, whether it's more severe than Delta. In terms of vaccines, tests, and treatments, the WHO also came out to say, everything is as per normal as of yesterday, but the time frame is still very, very small. They need more time to ascertain whether or not it will develop into something more serious.
Okay, so I guess we're going to have to just wait and see how things develop. Now, talking about developments, alcohol sales at Bangkok restaurants, the curfew time has finally been moved up from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. We've been talking about this for weeks. It's finally happening starting Wednesday, I believe. Natty, you've got more information. Is it Wednesday?
Yes, Wednesday. So tomorrow, December 1st, is the first day that they are going to move the curfew from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. So you have an extra 2 hours. However, entertainment venues such as bars, pubs, nightlife entertainment are still closed. But those that are registered under restaurants, you can now kind of postpone the closure of your alcohol sales until 11 p.m., which is great. Another updated news is that the tourism minister also is going to extend the alcohol sales to midnight on Christmas and New Year's in blue zone provinces. Now, this is not yet confirmed, but it's very close to confirming. So do check back on the Thaiger.com if there's any movement in regards to that.
They do have a habit of putting these changes into the Royal Gazette very late on, sometimes even days before it gets in place. So hopefully, yes, it will be published in the Royal Gazette, which will make it official. But yes, I think that's great news for a lot of venues, especially in places like Bangkok, Phuket, at least the blue zones.
Yes.
I'm not going to talk about the other zones who have not been opened yet. But yeah, what do restaurants do? Like, for example, let's say there's a restaurant called Bounce Bar and Restaurant. Do they just take the bar out of their name and now they're a restaurant?
I have no idea what they're doing right now, but I know there's a lot of pubs or restaurants that are called like Royal Oak Pub. And unfortunately, the name kind of suggests that they only sell alcohol, but they're mainly just restaurants. So hopefully
but yes, I think if we're being completely honest, some restaurants were being very creative on how they sell alcohol after 9 p.m. I won't indulge on the secrets of how they are doing that, but this can only be good for businesses in Bangkok and for tourists coming here to enjoy. Yes, it's still only 11 p.m. It's Thailand. We like to party here longer hours. But hey, you've got 2 more hours to enjoy your alcoholic beverage. So let's just take what we can get for now. And hopefully by the new year, they'll make it till midnight so that people can enjoy their New Year's properly, and eventually next month leading to perhaps no restrictions at all. More information again on that on the Thaiger.com, and we'll give you the information as it comes along. All right, let's take a quick break, Natty. Okay. Once we come back from the break, you're going to be talking a little bit about the Sandbox and how some more good news regarding the Sandbox, as well as a little bit more information on Hua Lamphong, which is the train station, the main Thai train station that's going to be closed down later in December. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Thailand with me, Jay, and Natty.
Hello.
Right. Oh, and a magical coffee culture bag has appeared. Honey espresso. Honey espresso. Have you ever tried honey espresso?
I have never. We should definitely open that up today.
I tell you what, the best. Sorry, this is not actually part of the plug, but just to quickly talk about the coffee, I've tried the Brazilian kick. I really like the Brazilian kick. So I guess it depends on what flavor you really want, because we were fortunate enough to get a big sample of all the coffee that coffee culture has. My favorite is the Brazilian kick. The honey espresso, not so much, but that's the best part because you can find your acquired taste.
Nice.
Are you a coffee drinker?
I love coffee. I drink coffee at least twice a day, if not like up to 5 cups a day, which is probably not good for my skin. But
5 cups a day?
If it's from coffee culture, I don't mind ruining my skin for them.
Okay, right. We are not promoting 5 cups a day coffee, please. Keep it to maybe 1 or 2. All right, let's move on and talk about the Sandbox. Now, the Sandbox has shortened the amount of days that people have to stay in it. Natty, more information, please.
Yeah, so we know that altogether we have 63 countries on the list that are allowed to enter Thailand without any quarantine. However, if your country is not on the list, but you are vaccinated, you might want to listen up because the mandatory stay under the Sandbox reentry scheme has been shortened to 5 days from the original 7 days previously, with the exception, though, from African countries due to the emergence of the Omicron variant, unfortunately. And another good news is that starting from December 24th, people can now enter Thailand via sea and land through the Nong Khai checkpoint, which is very close to the Laos border. Currently, we're only allowing people entering via air, but again, on the December 24th, more channels are going to be open for you to come into Thailand. So that's also good news.
Yep. There's more information, detailed information regarding people who are traveling in families and with children as well. Mm-hmm. There are some rules or some information that apply depending on the age of your child. So you can find more detailed information on that on the Thaiger.com. But yes, this is some good news for people who are coming through Sandbox. So I guess this is specifically for people. There are 3 different schemes. There's the Test and Go scheme, there's the Happy Sandbox scheme, and then there's also a scheme for people who are unvaccinated. So this applies to people who come from a country that's not on the list of Thailand, like the no quarantine list of Thailand. So anyone who does have to come and stay here through the Sandbox program now gets to spend 2 days less. Now, is it a huge difference? Probably not, but so, hey, it's saving costs, right? 5 days is better than 7 days. I'm being overly optimistic, but yes, it is what it is. Our job is just to pass on the information. Right, let's now talk about the last topic for today, which is regarding Hua Lamphong. If for our regular viewers, I believe it was late last week that I was talking about Hua Lamphong, which is the main train station, the hub train station in Bangkok, that's actually going to be closed down. And it's actually quite historic because it's been operating in Thailand for over 100 years, 105 years to be precise. And it's almost like not a monument, but it's almost like a place to visit in itself because it's got beautiful architecture and there's a very rich story behind it. Now, once the news actually came out, the public, the citizens, there was quite a little bit of outcry. Not an outcry, again, a little exaggeration, but quite a lot of noise that was being made by people saying that, what are they going to do? Why are they shutting it down? You know, that this is a symbol. What are they going to do with it? So this has actually got the Prime Minister, Kun Prayut Chan-o-cha, who's come out and asked the Transport Ministry to quickly organize hearings to gauge the public's opinion on the commercial development of Bangkok's Hua Lamphong station. So he's actually asked to come out and ask the Transport Ministry to lay out their plans and be more public about what they plan to do. SRT's own labor union launched an online campaign and petition to the Transport Ministry to keep the station open. So the labor union itself, obviously, they didn't want the train station to close down. Now, the plan to develop Hua Lamphong station for commercial use is partly because they are so heavily in debt, in the billions. Right. However, so some parts of the station will be commercially developed, but the historic facade. Is it facade?
Yes.
The historic facade will be retained. Facade. I didn't know if that was a word.
That sounds like a swear word, but no.
With plans to turn the atrium into a museum or learning center. So some good news regarding the Hua Lamphong station. If it is indeed made into a museum and a learning center, I think that would make a lot of people happy, as it preserves a part of history.
Yeah, well, that news certainly made me smile because that's exactly what we were talking about last week.
Yes.
That we don't want to see such a historical place being knocked down completely. So for them to turn it half into commercial, half into a museum, I think that's a great plan already. Yeah.
All right. The redevelopment also is expected to bring in 800 million baht over the next 30 years for the SRT. I don't know how close or how accurate that number is, 800 billion baht, but if it can generate that much money, good for them.
Yes.
All right, so hopefully good things to come regarding Hua Lamphong. Again, we will be giving more information on that as we find out more about it. Let's take a quick break, Natty. We're going to take another small quick break, a 5-second break, and we'll be back refreshed. And then we'll take some live viewer questions. So if you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and we'll try to address them as many as we can. We'll be back right after this.
Isn't it time for you to come back to the islands? Phuket is open and it's never looked better. Choose your trip to your favourite island with 5 Star Marine. Go to 5starmarinephuket.com.
And welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Thailand with me, Jay, and Natty, and it's now time to take some viewer questions. We're going to take a couple of questions before we end the show. I've got a question here from CGM777. It says, what about restaurants that also have a dance club attached, such as Spasso in the Hyatt? Is dancing prohibited currently in these restaurants establishments? CGM777, to give you an answer to this, I believe, yes, places like this will not be able to have dancing because it's not really a restaurant then, is it? If dancing and club music and people start doing such activities like that, I guess it's classified more as an entertainment venue rather than a restaurant. So I believe it won't be possible. To give you another example, another famous restaurant in the Tonglo area, it's a Japanese restaurant that also has karaoke. People are only allowed to go in and have Japanese food. You're not allowed to enter karaoke bars, karaoke rooms or karaoke venues because that is partly on the list of venues that are not allowed to open as per the government. So, yeah.
But best is to probably just call them up and see, like, are you guys open? Like, what can we use in your facility, like the dance floor or something like that?
Natty, you've got to risk it for the biscuit. You just got to go and hope for the best. No. Yes, do call and check up before you go to certain places like karaoke bars, karaoke places, or, yeah.
I have a question from KJ. How would that work, though? Thailand may remain open, but other countries may close their borders if Thailand if Omicron starts spreading, just like the reactionary measures against South Africa. I know that a couple of countries like Israel and Japan have already closed their borders fully to all international travelers. Thailand, we're still kind of waiting on the WHO to give us more information, but as for now, because there is none, we'll continue to open and we'll hope for the best. Hopefully it's not too bad. And I think that this coronavirus thing, it's going to continue to mutate up until 2023. I don't think closing the borders, shutting the borders down completely will help prevent anything at this point. It's, unfortunately.
All right. Dmitry Katsov says, do you think this new Omicron variant will ultimately push back the launch of the long-awaited Thai porn industry?
What?
Yes, firstly, thank you for the question, Dimitri. I'm not quite sure it will. I highly doubt Thailand will have openly, anyways, a legal porn industry. So, yeah, that's my answer to your question. Thank you for that, however. Yes, another question. In your opinions, this is a question from Kanada Krap, who says, where's the best place in Thailand to spend New Year's? Natty?
Ooh, I like Bangkok though.
Gross.
Oh, gross.
I'm joking.
I like fireworks. I like. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's nice and cool, but not overly cold.
That's only what a Bangkok person would say. Half of Bangkok is not here during New Year's, though. Most people do like to travel to places like Hua Hin, Phuket, Pattaya, like a beach destination where they can see some nice fireworks. I would go to Phuket, but that's because it's just my home.
Right.
During New Year's, you want to be not only have fun, but it's also a holiday where you want to be surrounded by your loved ones.
Right.
So wherever that may be for you. For me, it's Phuket, so that's where I would be.
Home is where the heart is. Somebody's
Sure.
asking, Kicks TV, is Pattaya open? Well, you can definitely travel to Pattaya. However, the bars, the alcohol sales have not been lifted yet, as for now. But you can definitely go and enjoy the beaches and the people.
Right. All right. Let's take one question each, and then we'll call it a day. Flights from Africa singled out. Sick puppy, thank you for that. I have no idea what you're asking. What about the planes to Koh Samui from Bangkok today? Sven. What about them? I don't. Sorry, guys. I apologize. Sometimes it's difficult to really understand your question. So if you could try to be a bit more detailed as to what you really want to know, we'll be better able to answer them. Any last questions, Natty?
Barry Stanchuk, not really a question, a comment. Natty wants to fight for her right to party. I like how he dragged out the R. Yeah, that's right. You know me, I'm the party Natty.
Right. Caddy Natty, Potty Natty. All right, let's just end the show there. Not a lot of questions. However, thank you to all the viewers for joining us. Thank you for participating in the live chat, having a conversation, and enjoying the show. We hope you've enjoyed today's show. Thank you, Natty.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you to Shai behind the buttons and Jason editing there on the side. Thank you, viewers. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Please like the video. It really helps us, and we'll see you tomorrow.